What if I told you that the samurai had no alarm clocks, no phone notifications,
No snooze buttons.
no one shaking them awake? And yet, without exception, every serious warrior was awake before sunrise, every single morning, for their entire adult lives. Not because they forced themselves, not because they were naturally morning people, but because they had discovered something about the human body and the human mind that most people alive today have never been told. A method so precise, so elegantly simple that once you understand it, you will never struggle with waking up early again. In this video, I am going to give you that method. Completely, step by step, exactly as the samurai practiced it. Let me describe your relationship with mornings. The alarm goes off, and immediately, before a single conscious thought has formed, your hand is already moving toward the snooze button, as if it has its own agreement with sleep that your waking mind was never invited to. You tell yourself 5 more minutes. 5 becomes 15. 15 becomes the sick, sinking feeling of being late, of having lost the morning before it began. Or perhaps you do get up, but dragging yourself through the first hour in a fog so thick it barely qualifies as being awake. Going through motions, existing rather than living, waiting for the coffee to perform the resurrection that your own will cannot. And the worst part is knowing, that the morning is the most important part of the day. Every high performer you have ever read about wakes up early. Every tradition that has ever produced wisdom, Zen, Stoic, samurai, military, treats the early morning as sacred. And yet, knowing this has not helped you. Because knowing the value of mornings and actually rising to meet them are 2 entirely different problems. The first is an information problem. The second is a biological and psychological one. And it requires a biological and psychological solution. Not another alarm, not more willpower, not another motivational reminder on your phone. The samurai had that solution. And it begins the night before. In the samurai tradition, the concept of yoru no junbai, night preparation, was considered as important as the morning practice itself. The samurai understood something that modern sleep science has only recently confirmed with hard data. The quality of your morning is determined almost entirely by decisions made 8 to 12 hours before you open your eyes. What you eat in the evening, when you stop consuming stimulation, the state of your mind when you finally close your eyes, the intention you set before sleep, the physical environment you wake into. All of it, every element, was considered part of morning preparation. Not morning practice. Morning preparation done the night before. The great Zen master Dogen, founder of the Soto school of Zen Buddhism, deeply influential in samurai culture, wrote, "To study the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to be enlightened by all things." Applied to waking, the man who wakes up struggling with himself, fighting the desire to sleep, negotiating with his own weakness, has not yet forgotten the small self. He is still at war with his own nature. The samurai who woke effortlessly had not conquered his desire for sleep. He had structured his life so that the desire to rise was stronger than the desire to remain. That is the method. And here is exactly how it works. The first element, Maimoku no Mokuteki, the named purpose. Maimoku no Mokuteki translates as the named purpose, and it is the foundation upon which everything else in this method rests. The samurai who woke before sunrise did not wake up to be productive. He did not wake up because discipline demanded it. He woke up because he had something specific, named, concrete, personally meaningful, waiting for him in the early morning that existed nowhere else in his day. His sword practice, his tea ceremony, his writing, his prayer. Something that was his, that belonged to the quiet hours before the world made its demands. Here is the neuroscience behind why this matters. The brain's reward system, the dopamine pathways, activates in anticipation of meaningful reward, not in response to obligation, not in response to discipline, in response to something genuinely wanted. When your first thought upon waking is "I have to get up," the brain experiences that as mild threat. The body resists. When your first thought upon waking is "I get to go do the thing that is mine," the brain experiences that as reward approach. The body moves. So before anything else, name your morning purpose. One specific thing that you genuinely want, not should want, not ought to do, that you will do only in the early morning hours. It does not need to be grand. It needs to be real. It needs to be yours. The second element, Yugyo no Gishiki, the evening ritual. Yugyo no Gishiki, the twilight ritual, was the samurai's nightly practice of preparing the mind and body for quality sleep and powerful waking. It had 4 precise components. The first, Shikuji no Seigen, dietary restraint after sunset. The samurai ate their last substantial meal at least 3 hours before sleep. Not as punishment, but because they understood that a digesting body produces poor sleep quality and a foggy morning mind. Modern chronobiology confirms this precisely. Eating within 2 hours of sleep elevates core body temperature, disrupts melatonin production, and significantly reduces slow-wave sleep, the deep restorative phase that determines morning alertness. The second, Hikari no Seigen, light restriction. For at least 1 hour before sleep, the samurai avoided bright firelight and stimulating environments. In modern terms, no screens, no bright overhead lighting, no stimulating content. The blue wavelength light emitted by modern screens suppresses melatonin production by up to 3 hours, effectively lying to your brain about what time it is and pushing your natural sleep onset deeper into the night. The third, Kokoro no Siri, the mental clearing. Before sleep, the samurai spent a brief time, 10 minutes at most, writing down or mentally releasing everything unresolved from the day. Not to solve it, not to plan. Simply to acknowledge it and set it aside with the explicit intention. This belongs to tomorrow. The mind that goes to sleep still processing the day's unfinished business does not rest. It continues working, producing the fragmented, anxious sleep that makes morning feel like swimming upward through concrete. The fourth, Mezame no Ito, the waking intention. The final act before sleep was to set the waking time not as a command but as an intention. The samurai would breathe slowly, visualize themselves rising at the desired hour with calm energy, and state internally, I will wake at this hour, clear and ready. This practice, which sounds almost too simple to be meaningful, works through a mechanism called perspective memory activation. The sleeping brain does not fully abandon consciousness. It maintains a monitoring function that can track the passage of time and activate arousal at a pre-committed moment. This is why humans routinely wake moments before their alarm. The brain was watching. The alarm, in the samurai context, was not a rescue device. It was a confirmation, evidence that what had already been set in motion had worked. The third element, Akatsuki no Karada, the dawn body. The moment of waking, the transition from sleep to consciousness, was treated by the samurai as a sacred threshold requiring its own precise practice. Akatsuki no Karada, the dawn body, referred to the specific physical sequence performed in the first 60 seconds of waking, before standing, before thinking about the day, before any external input. It had 3 steps. First, 3 deep breaths, slow, full, deliberate, to shift the nervous system from sleep mode parasympathetic state to alert but calm wakefulness. Not the shallow, panicked breathing of an alarm jolt waking. Controlled, owned breathing that told the body, we are choosing to be here. Second, physical compression, pressing both palms firmly against the face, then running them slowly upward over the scalp. This physical stimulation activates the trigeminal nerve, one of the fastest conducting neural pathways in the body, producing rapid cortical arousal. In plain terms, it wakes the brain up faster than almost anything else, including coffee, because it works directly on the nervous system rather than through the bloodstream. Third, immediate vertical position, sitting fully upright within 30 seconds of waking, before any internal negotiation has the opportunity to begin. The horizontal body has a physiological relationship with sleep. The vertical body has a physiological relationship with action. The transition from one to the other is not just symbolic. It is a genuine shift in blood pressure, cortisol levels, and neural activation state. The samurai did not lie in bed deciding whether to get up. By the time the deciding mind arrived, the body was already vertical, already breathing, already in the state of a person who had chosen to be awake. The decision had been made before the debate could start. At the beginning of this video, I told you the samurai had no alarms. Now you understand why they did not need them. Maimoku no Mokutiki, a named morning purpose so genuine that the brain moves toward it rather than away from it. Yugyo no Gishiki, the 4-part evening ritual that prepares the body and mind for deep sleep and powerful waking. Dietary restraint, light restriction, mental clearing, and waking intention. Akatsuki no Karata, the dawn body sequence that moves the physical self into wakefulness before the negotiating mind has the chance to object. 3 breaths, facial compression, immediate vertical position. This is not a morning routine. It is a complete system, built on the understanding that the morning is won the night before, and that the body, properly prepared, needs no forcing. The samurai did not conquer their mornings through willpower. They designed their evenings so that the morning arrived naturally, like a warrior who had already won before the battle began. Dogen wrote, "A flower falls even though we love it. A weed grows even though we do not love it. The morning comes whether you are ready or not. The only question is whether you have prepared the soil." Tonight, begin the Yugyo no Gishiki. Name your morning purpose. Set your intention. Let the body do what a prepared body naturally does. And tomorrow morning, before the alarm perhaps, you will open your eyes and understand something the samurai understood centuries ago. The warrior does not drag himself from sleep. He rises to meet what is waiting for him. Subscribe, because the next video goes deeper into the samurai's hidden daily systems for mastering the self from the moment of waking to the moment of rest. The morning belongs to those who prepare for it. Prepare tonight,